The National Federation of Housing Associations told us today that if it was given the £2 billion lost through housing benefit, it could build 60,000 new homes a year for those on low incomes or in need. Now, according to the dictionary, the word comes from the Italian for scribbling. Some call it art, others pure vandalism. The word is graffiti, and a judge has just redefined it as a serious crime, deserving a prison sentence on a par with those meted out for rape, for drug dealing and for violent assault.
From Manhattan to Manchester, from Brooklyn to Barnsley, graffiti has established itself as the universal language of the streets. Now graffiti has a martyr. Fisto, aka Simon Sunderland, is being punished. He didn't get a fine, or community service, or even 6 months.
Why is this young lad, a 23-year-old, being in jail for 5 years? It's unjust and it's wrong.
Justice has to be seen to be done, and in this case, I think it has been.
Simon Sunderland was known by his tag as Fisto, or Fista, and occasionally as Missed One. He conducted a one-man blitz to become the most famous name in South Yorkshire.
His main pieces were the ones which were done on the motorway, and he did some on the town hall at Sheffield. He did it on private buildings, he did it on railway carriages, he did it on buses.
If it moved, or if it didn't move, these were the canvases on which Simon had chosen to make his statement. If you lived in Barnsley, Chesterfield or Sheffield, and you were reading the writing on the wall, it said Fisto.
What did you think of it?
Brilliant, because he's an highly gifted lad. He's always been quite good with art, and it was him expressing himself.
It was only a matter of time before the police caught up with Simon. They raided his home.
The sight that met me there was something that I don't think I shall ever forget. Inside the bedroom there was spray and writing on the walls, there was spray paint, there were pens, there was just about every conceivable instrument that you could use to draw or paint with.
They found nearly 400 spray cans. Fisto was busted. In Manchester, at a legal graffiti festival, Simon's sentence gets an angry reaction.
He got 5 years for graffiti. That was just bang out of order. It shouldn't have been like that. You know, he was like just out there painting. It just sums up the justice situation in this country.
It's not just the graffiti subculture which has rallied to Simon's cause. His local MP also thinks that British justice is making an ass of itself.
Here we've got a guy who's been given 5 years for painting on walls. We've got other cases around Barnsley where small firms who pollute the environment, who are taken to court by waste management, are given a fine. Now, they're probably doing more environmental damage than what people like Simon Sunderland are doing.
The nerve centre of the Free Fisto campaign is the front room of his aunt's flat in the village of Jump, outside Barnsley.
That one's from Tony Ben saying that he hoped that he can be of some assistance to us.
Did Simon know that what he was doing was actually criminal?
Obviously knew that it were wrong, and he knew that he had a penalty to pay. But we're talking about 5 years for art graffiti. You know, the sentence doesn't fit the crime.
There must be a lot of local people who are pretty angry about the graffiti they've had to put up with. Aren't they just saying, serves him right?
They're saying, give him a sponge and a bloody bucket and get it wiped off.
Instead, Sheffield City Council is wiping it off. Stung by recently being nominated the graffiti capital of the UK, the council has just released this video, hard-selling their elite anti-graffiti squad, the Grimebusters.
Grimebusters, call us now. No job too big, no job too small.
The council is spending over £100,000 a year on scrubbing out an epidemic of graffiti, much of it clearly bearing Simon's signature, the ever-present Fisto.
Is that money well spent? Aren't you just providing a clean canvas for the next graffiti artist to come along?
Well, that's the counter-argument to that is if you don't clean it off, it attracts more and more. I believe when we're trying to attract inward investment, an image of a graffiti-strewn town is very negative, and therefore we need to change it positively.
Sheffield residents complain of having their public spaces violated and of feeling intimidated.
It makes me angry when I see it round my home. Plus, Our rents go up each year because the City Council have to spend money removing things like this, which could be spent on amenities for us.
It just wants to be taken off. To walk down there, you feel threatened.
For someone who's been dismissed as a mindless hooligan, Simon Sunderland gave a lot of thought to what he was doing. He once wrote, "The common people have no power, unlike the advertisers who try to vandalize our minds with images of a materialistic society. From where Fista stood, the world had a different perspective. Vandalism wasn't this stuff down here, but that." Simon isn't alone in seeing the potential for self-expression in spray paint doodling. The art establishment has embraced the work of New Yorker Jean-Michel Basquiat, who died tragically in 1988. While Simon's work earned him 5 years, Basquiat's paintings, recently displayed in London's Serpentine Gallery, can fetch $500,000. Basquiat started on the streets, spraying illegal tags just like Simon. Just like this hit-and-run graffiti gang who filmed themselves attacking London tube trains.
We do it on the window. Do it on the window, it shows up.
It is criminal damage, although it has the word graffiti attached to it. Sunderland was actually causing criminal damage.
Not someone who's got any artistic talent at all?
Not in my view, no.
Back at the Basquiat exhibition, people weren't nearly so sure. We showed them examples of Simon Sunderland's criminal damage.
It's really classy, really bright stuff. I don't know whose wall that is, but I'd be well chuffed if someone did something like that on my wall.
It just depends where it's put. If it's in a gallery, then it's art. If it's outside of the gallery, people don't see it as art.
If you had to choose between Basquiat and Simon Sunderland, which would it be?
I quite like his work, I think, the Simon Sunderland guy.
Do you think a sentence like this will actually deter anybody else from doing what Simon Sunderland did?
I think what Sunderland's case has done is it's brought to the fore, and certainly via the media, that people who commit damage by graffiti had better think twice.
In Manchester, they don't see Simon's sentence as a deterrent, so much as a provocation.
I'll just carry on as normal. You know, it's not going to change me, it's not going to change anybody here. You know, them sort of sentences are just dished out by judges who think that it's going to affect us. It's not going to change one thing, because we live it. It's not going to change nothing I do, it'll just make me want to paint more.
People do illegal graffiti for the buzz, for the adrenaline, and the fact that there's more of a sentence is going to be a higher buzz.
It's a long way from here to the appeal court in London, which will now decide Simon's fate. But the message to the judges is being spelt out clearly.
There's people running around streets that's murdering, killing. End of days never hurt anyone. No matter what sort of graffiti is done, that lad shouldn't be locked up for 5 years.
Now, our final story is no laughing matter.